Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're getting into a topic that, well, it affects everyone eventually. Aging, and really the need to be ready for it ourselves.
Yeah, we looked at this video from Solo Second Half on YouTube, and honestly, it lays out some pretty direct, maybe even uncomfortable truths about getting older.
Definitely calls them cold, hard truths. And look, whether you're partnered up, got tons of family around, or you're, navigating solo, there's something in this for anyone thinking about the future.
Right. The point isn't really to make you worry. It's more about encouraging that proactive thinking, making informed choices.
Exactly. And the video touches on things like relationships changing when you don't expect it, financial spots you might not realize you're vulnerable in, and how family rules can shift.
Okay, so where should we start? Maybe with that big assumption about support.
Yeah, let's do that. The whole idea that you're guaranteed support as you age, the video really challenges that.
It does. It kind of pushes back hard against the common belief that, your spouse or your kids will just automatically step in as caregivers or your main support system later on.
The speaker puts it so bluntly. If you think you're not alone, you better think again and prepare. Wow.
Yeah, it's stark. And it leads into this advice to think as an individual and treat life like you may be on your own someday.
Because, as they say, over 50, as we get older, all kinds of things change. It forces you to kind of check your own assumptions, doesn't it?
Totally. And it's not just like a random opinion. The speaker mentions observations from living in a 55-plus community.
Oh, interesting. So seeing it firsthand.
Seems like it. Seeing that these shifts in who you can rely on, well, it happens more often than maybe we like to admit. It makes you question those ingrained ideas about later life.
It really does. Okay, another huge piece the video digs into is money. Financial preparedness. This part really hit home for me.
Yeah, the potential vulnerability there, especially as the video points out, for folks who maybe haven't been the ones handling the finances day to day.
Right. And it mentioned this could affect women of, say, older generations more often.
Exactly. The example given was a spouse passes away and the surviving partner is left completely in the dark about their financial situation.
That's a terrifying thought. Not knowing where the money comes from, how banking works, what insurance you even have.
And the speaker shared their own experience. I think they said working at Prudential.
Yeah, seeing insurance policies that had last. And once that happens, there's often no going back. It's just gone.
It underlines how crucial it is, doesn't it? For everyone to have a handle on their finances. Doesn't matter who pays the bills right now.
Absolutely. Know your accounts, investments, insurance, the works. It seems so basic, but clearly it's a gap for some people.
It really seems to be. Okay, so moving on slightly. The video also talks about relationships changing later in life, and not just through loss.
Right, like unexpected splits, divorce later on.
Yeah, there was that really sad story about the English professor. Her husband of many, many years leaves her in her 60s, just suddenly, for someone else.
Oof. The emotional shock, let alone having your whole life turned upside down at that stage.
Totally life-altering. And the speaker mentioned seeing people, even in their 80s, having to start over after a separation.
In their 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just shatters that idea that if you've been together forever, you're automatically set for stability till the end.
It really does. It speaks to that unpredictability of life, I guess. Even the most solid-seeming relationships can change.
And maybe we get complacent, relying so much on that partnership that we wouldn't know what to do if it suddenly wasn't there.
Makes sense. Then there's the family side of things. Adult kids. The video suggests they might not always be the safety net people imagine.
And not necessarily out of bad intentions, right? It's more that adult kids have their own lives going on.
Their own problems, maybe divorces, issues with their own kids, financial stress.
Exactly, all that stuff. So the video points out you might see older people, again, maybe in their 80s or even older, who have kids but are still effectively totally alone.
That's a tough one to think about. And the video went even further, didn't it? Mentioning a really concerning issue.
Yeah. The potential, in some cases, for adult children to, well, take advantage financially.
Right. Exploiting their aging parents. They gave a pretty extreme example, but it serves as a warning.
A stark one. It just reinforces how important it is to, keep control of your own stuff, your own affairs. Don't just assume your kids will handle everything perfectly or always have your best interests first.
It's about being prudent, self-reliant, even with family you trust.
Seems to be the message. Which kind of leads naturally into just basic independent living skills.
Yeah, things you might let slide in a partnership because the other person always does them.
For sure. Like maybe one person always cooks, the other always handles the finances or the leaky faucet.
And then boom, that person isn't there anymore.
Yeah.
Suddenly you have to figure out how to make a meal beyond toast or, understand the household budget.
Right. It can be a huge, unexpected challenge. So knowing how to do those things yourself isn't just convenient. It's like future-proofing.
Future-proofing, I like that. Okay, now the video had an interesting twist on support systems, didn't it? Something about single people.
Ah, yeah, that was quite insightful. It suggested that people who've been single for a long time might actually be a really valuable support network for those who find themselves alone later.
How so?
Well, the idea is they've already built up resilience. They have experience navigating life independently. They're kind of inherently prepared in a way.
That makes sense. They've had to be self-sufficient. They likely have their own networks, coping strategies.
Exactly. Skills and a mindset that could be incredibly helpful for someone who's suddenly alone after, say, decades of marriage. Plus, maybe they have more time or fewer immediate family demands.
Interesting perspective. Okay, so if we try and boil this all down, the main takeaway message seems to be, well, like the video says, don't be a fool.
Pretty much. Aim for more independence, especially after 50.
Which means, practically speaking, number one, get a grip on your finances. Understand your money, how the household runs.
Yeah, know where everything is, how to access it, how to manage things if you had to do it alone.
And have that plan B for where you'd live, right?
Yeah.
If your current setup changed.
Mm-hmm. Think about it. Would you stay? Move? How would you manage? It's about considering the possibilities.
And talking. Having those maybe difficult conversations with your partner about everything.
Absolutely. Money, insurance, future plans, wishes. Total transparency. Don't leave things unsaid or unexamined.
And the last practical tip was about getting legal advice.
Yeah, establishing a relationship with an attorney. Just to make sure your interests are protected, your wishes are clear, legally documented.
Okay, so wrapping up this deep dive then. It really hammered home the importance of being proactive as we get older.
Yeah, being financially literate, having realistic expectations about support from others, and just making sure you have those basic independent living skills down.
And again, the goal here isn't to scare anyone or make them feel isolated. It's the opposite, really.
Right, it's about feeling informed, empowered, taking steps now to feel more secure about whatever the future might bring.
So maybe the final thought for everyone listening is, what's one concrete step you could take, starting today, to build a bit more independence or security for your own future?
Yeah, regardless of your situation right now, what conversation might be worth starting? Something to think about.